Utata, a trendsetter indeed. He's inspired all of us to just love children and so much more, Thomas.
He was amazing. Unlike me, in suit, he used to just wear his shirt and meet anybody and everybody, and they respected him for it.
Yeah.
But did you know, Griselda, that while in prison, Tata wrote many letters to his former wife, Mam Winnie, and his fellow comrades, many of which never reached their intended recipients. The book entitled Lighter Side of Life on Robben Island aptly documents these and many other humorous anecdotes of Robben Island. Released in September and co-written by Kunene, Paddy Harper and Fred Kumalo, this book holds at the resourcefulness and imaginative endeavors of the prisoners. With us today is a great man we're honored to have in the studio with us. He was imprisoned along with the struggle heroes and was instrumental in the book as he gave most of the stories firsthand. We welcome Tata Peter Paul Ngwenya. Welcome, Tata. And
thank you.
The book, The Lighter Side of Life on Robben Island, you brought a copy of it with you, signed by Tata Nelson Mandela. But that title, The Lighter Side of Life on Robben Island, there was a light side? I mean, I went to Robben Island.
Especially when you talk about Robben Island. Really?
And I can't believe there was a chance to laugh, a moment where you could enjoy yourselves.
There was, because life wasn't just about politics. I mean, we had families, we had loved ones we had left behind. We played sport on Robben Island. We studied. And we were encouraged by the likes of Nelson Mandela to study. So we had to break that monotonous life. Existence.
Like, give us some examples.
Give us examples of some of the letters that were written, some of the poetry. And I'm also thinking that you would listen to radio a lot.
Yes, we did.
You had favorite newsreaders. Yes,
we did. In fact, maybe while you're talking about letters, I should read one letter out of here.
Oh, that would be lovely.
You have a favorite letter?
Yes, maybe a favorite letter. It was written by a prisoner. Let me just read it out for you.
And Thomas, there's also a book that is written by Mama Winnie. And in that book, there's actually quotes of some of the letters that she used to receive from Otata. A romantic at heart, I tell you.
I'm still amazed by the fact that there was a lighter side. I mean, it was a stone quarry. It's a depressing place when you get there. It is isolated miles away from the mainland, and yet you had time to have fun. Let me hear. Let us all hear the letter.
Yeah? We even cooked and ate crayfish.
Oh, okay, spoiled. Crayfish.
This letter was written by one George Sitole. It was to the editor of the Fair Lady magazine. He writes, the copy contains a story about wives who are coping without husbands that are politically involved. My wife, Nomathemba Margaret Sitole, and Mrs. Victoria Nonyamezelo Mxenge are interviewed by Fair Lady during the first half of 1981. My wife is rumored to be outside the country, but I have lost contact with her. The children and I wish to acquire as much information about her as possible. We request the Fair Lady to help us with the copy and photos of her and Mrs. Mxenge. I undertake never to use them for commercial or any kind of publication. I'm sending 20 Rand to cover your expenses. Thank you so much. Sincerely, George Sitole.
I think you guys started...
This is going to the editor.
Yes, it was.
I think this was the beginning, Griselda, of Kumbulekai.
Yes.
That's the first letter to Kumbulekai.
Was it ever published, though?
The book was. The letter...
No, I mean the letter.
The letter, he wrote it to the editor. I'm not sure. We were still in jail. I'm not sure if it was ever published. Okay. But I think it wouldn't have been at the time. People were not too comfortable dealing with islanders.
Especially Fair Lady, yes. Please.
Mr. Ngwenya, in this time on Robben Island, and these moments that were light-hearted, one we hear it, and I think it's somewhere in the book, was you actually had television. Utata would also sit at some point and watch television on Robben Island. You had favorites, where you even gave each other I'm a crash on TV.
Yeah, that's true. Well,
take us through Tata's moments like that.
Well, unfortunately, when television came, he had been moved. But there is a story about him in television, because when he had moved to Victor Verster, a group of comrades visited him. He had invited them to come and see him. One day they were waiting outside. They were standing next to the pool. And then one of them, Terra Ricotta, motioned that they shouldn't discuss him a lot because they were worried that the man is living in such luxury, he must have sold out. So Terra was saying, shh, be quiet, because there is a recorder in the pool referring to the creepy crawly. So he didn't know what a creepy crawly is. But when they walked into his house, in the kitchen there was a microwave. And then they all remarked, they didn't know what a microwave was. They said, you even have a television set?
In the kitchen?
In the kitchen. He said, no, no, no. It's a new way of boiling water.
Now, Madiba is such a scholar and very eloquent and well-spoken. What is some of the literature that he used to read and some of his favorite authors?
There's a book about the France mine workers called Germinal. I think it's written by a French author called Émile Zola. He read that. And then there is also a book called Time Longer Than Rope. It's about the struggle of South Africa. He did that. But his favorite was the Bible. Yeah, he was a Bible teacher, by the way, in his youth. And he never missed a church service on Robben Island. Yes, so it was that. And then, of course, he encouraged all of us to write. He would help you to write a letter to a neighbor who has suffered a loss through death. Because you go to jail for 15 years, you're there. And some people die while you are there. And then you need to communicate those families. It might have been neighbors, it might have been a relative. As a youngster, you don't know exactly how to handle that. Yeah. So they coached us and they showed, they helped us how to write those letters.
Not only was Robben Island famous for its football association, I mean, there was nothing missing there. There was a football association, but also a university of sorts.
Yes, yes. They really did encourage us to. I was, when I went to Robben Island, I hadn't finished my degree because I had been expelled. So I quickly completed it. Then I wanted to do an honors, and then I wanted to do it all in 1 year. They said to me, no, you'll just cram and reproduce what you've read. What you should do is take time. You've got all the time here. And so they encouraged us to read.
You've
not
got
just
15 years.
Yeah. Yes, not just to read to pass, but to read to understand. Mzi tells a story, Mzi Kumar. When Mzi went to jail, he didn't have a JC. He says sometimes he doesn't think he even had a standard 6. Sure. But by the time he left, he was doing an LLB. So he was saying to me he was looking for a book and he couldn't find it anywhere. We had a library in our section. So he came there looking for this book. But apparently this book was quite valuable. People didn't want to give it out. So he asked for it. Somebody said to him, no, it's not there. And on his way out, he met Mandela. And Mandela inquired about his studies. And he said, but I'm looking for this book. Mandela said, no, that book is here. He made sure that he got it.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Now, when we hear stories like these, we could go on and on and on and never stop. It is an honor to be in the presence of Otata, Obaba, like Ubabongwenya. These stories take us right to the heart and soul of the experiences that culminated in who we are today. And who we are today, let's hear it from children. Take it away.
When they thought it would be a bloodbath, when they thought he would come out a hateful, vengeful and angry man, he emerged with a smile so genuine and heart-penetrating. Now allow me to tell you about this great man. A great man of passion and compassion. A great man of courage and character. A great man of liberty and liberation. A man who sacrificed his own freedom so that we can be free. Allow me to tell you about this great man. Iqhawe lamaqhawe, intak emnyama ebhabhe emafini, uyemyema, urholihlahla, indoda yomXhosa, eyathi Msuthu Mzulu nawe Bhulu, masibambaneni sibe munye. Allow me to tell you about this great man, a man of honesty and sincerity.